Life, low life, life, super trife, life.
This is probably the most challenging record you have ever put on your turntable.
You ain't about that life.
Yeah, salute. Apology for the technical difficulties. We apologize for,
for violating.
For whatever we did wrong. We send
Still
our
don't
deepest.
know. Please send us a message.
Yeah. Please send us a message letting us know what we did wrong. It's only right. Until then, we do got some breaking news. I'm gonna pull it up on the back screen. Let me look. Let me see.
Damn, word, he got hit up in the yard?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Got that money, man. You supposed to pay for protection, bro.
Listen.
Running around with security in the yard.
And according to, I'm trying to make sure I grab it. Let me get it
Hold
from
on,
the news.
let me let them know. Yeah, I probably can't let them know now. Because...
I sent it to. Oh, let me put the link in the chat. I sent it. Didn't you get it on your phone?
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Them niggas are talking.
Yeah, they go dark right there. All right.
Yeah, I just told Frank. I just told Frank he coming.
Yeah, I sent it to him. I sent it to him on the phone. No doubt. Breaking news. I'm gonna go ahead and do my best to kind of share this real quick.
Disclaimer. Yep. All that allegedly.
Allegedly. Let me put this banner up. Fair use. Disclaimer, because whatever we did wrong, again, please forgive us. We're new. We don't know too much about these things. We'll make sure it don't happen again. Let's see. Let me go to this breaking news, right?
For shooting Megan Thee Stallion is in stable condition tonight after allegedly being stabbed by another inmate in the prison yard in California. Sources say Tory Lanez was rushed to the hospital. He's expected to be okay. He's serving that 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion as they left an LA party back in July 2020. Priya Sridhar is joining us now. I mean, people know Tory Lanez. What happened here?
Hey, Holly, that's right. Well, we don't have a lot of information about this just yet, but what we do know from the spokesperson for that California Correctional Institute is that this attack occurred at around 7:20 this morning. They didn't give further information about exactly how Tory Lanez was stabbed or what the potential motivation could be or where he was stabbed, but they did say that staff immediately rendered medical aid. He was transported to a local hospital, and he is suffering from non-life-threatening injuries. However, several other media outlets, including the Los Angeles Times, are reporting that this was another inmate who used a shank to stab him several times. Now, just to jog your memory about what he was exactly doing in jail in the first place, as you mentioned, he is serving a 10-year sentence. He was convicted back in December of 2022 on 3 different felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. Now, this all stems from an incident back in July of 2020 when Megan Thee Stallion actually testified at the trial that he, after they were departing a party at Kylie Jenner's house, they were walking towards an SUV that they should have been riding back together in when he apparently shot at her feet and told her to dance in the driveway. Now, since then, the rapper has attempted to appeal for another trial. He hasn't been successful in those attempts, but actually earlier this year, Hallie, Megan Thee Stallion said that he was using surrogates to harass her from jail, and a judge actually issued a protective order for her until the year 2030. Hallie?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
She talked more about his crime than what happened to him.
Yeah.
This is terrible, man.
Wow.
You know, and again, I'm glad this allegedly thing is up here because, you know, my thoughts and prayers is out to that brother. 'Cause at the end of the day, you know, whatever he was accused of, again, it's multiple sides of that story. If you ask me, you know,
don't give her opinion, Chip. Don't give her
no,
opinion.
I absolutely won't. I simply won't. All I'm saying is, you know, again, coming from a person who got into some trouble early on in life and was put in situations, there's one thing you know about being in any facility, right? If you're a celebrity and you're in a facility, chances are, you know, there a lot of moving parts to what transpired this morning. I'll say it that way. It had to be a lot of moving parts for that to really go down, because you know the high profile people, they kind of try to, you know, make sure, because nobody wants, you know, none of the guards, none of the cap, they don't really want that on their shift. So, you know, and again, it's
Hold on. Yo, Chip.
yeah.
Frank.
Yo,
I want to ask you from your perspective, man, since you just stepped out of it, what you think could have happened here? Because let's be real, this is Tory Lanez. He in the spot. Him feeding the people ain't no problem. So, you know, what could have been an issue? And then, you know what I mean? If you feeding the people, why would they let that happen to you in there? You know what I'm saying?
yo, truthfully, you know what I mean, from what I've heard from a few different people is that he definitely was, you know, setting it out, and I don't mean that in a way where being extorted or whatever case it be. He was setting it out. He was checking for the peoples inside there, like a lot of individuals that wasn't getting visits, you know, commissary for dudes, whatever. Like he had the means. So, you know, again, but prison is so precarious, bro. Like one individual, you know, there may have been an individual, and let's note this real quick. The time, you know what I mean? Usually, you know what I'm saying, in any prison that I've been in, man, the doors bust open between 6 to 7 o'clock at the earliest. You know what I mean? At the very earliest, it's 6 o'clock. You suited and you booted. You know what I mean? At the very latest, 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? 6:45, 7 o'clock. That breakfast situation got to go down, and that's got to be over. So for that to have happened at 7 o'clock in the morning, that was some situation that was thought out the night before. And there's a number of things. It could have been the fact of, you know, the one individual who wasn't getting the part of the pie or the piece of the pie that he felt that he was deserving of.
Yeah.
You know, and that could have been one, or
Allegedly.
it could have allegedly, or it could have been an individual who himself is just pulled what we call a sophisticated check off, meaning that he was probably, you know, the object of, or soon to be the object of being pushed on. So he just found him somebody that he felt was an easy Vic, so to speak, and pushed on Tories as a way of getting up out of the prison that he may be in. You know, the other could be, you know, like, you know, somebody who, you know, may have status, didn't get what they were supposed to get or what they were trying to press them for. And, you know, instead of them actually doing it, they sent, you know what I mean, a little goon to do it. You know, so there's a number. They sent the missile, yeah. So
do you think his protection could have got lifted? Do you think something could have went wrong with who he was under, and they allowed that to happen? Because like that's still a disrespectful move. If you under me and that happened and I don't do nothing, I still look crazy.
Absolutely, but you know, like in them walls right now, bro, like you got, you know, like they say, man, you know, you a bad wolf, you got badder wolves. You dig what I'm saying now? And
always,
even
I respect that.
And even now, you got to realize that some of these young brothers that's going in prison, man, they got this mentality that, yo, I don't give a F, you dig? Like, you nigga, you like, it's just like when we was going in. When I was going in the island back in the days, and a person, you know, we used to look at the old heads like, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit from you coffee drinking, cigarette smoking ass niggas.
Word.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Word.
miss me with that, you dig? You know what I mean? That was your time. This is my time now, Playboy.
Word.
You
Yeah.
dig? So it's the same thing. Ain't nothing new under the sun. So you got these young brothers that's going in now, and they have that mentality, and they got a whole lot more time than we had when we were going in. So it's like, yo, listen, man, either kill or be killed. So basically, a lot of them is they don't care, bro. Allegedly,
So
yeah,
so
they don't
so
care.
so what's that called, right? When you a celebrity and shit, you go to prison. Don't you supposed to be like in a CMC or a lockup that?
Not
I
necessarily.
think they can't
because
force you to stay in PC.
Now they can't exactly. That's why Tupac. That's why a number of individuals, you dig what I'm saying, who has celebrity status. You know, it's basically like, you know, you basically from the get-go they're gonna put you in administrative segregation. Again, I spoke about that earlier. From the get-go, and then after about a week or something, you know, they're gonna come to you and they're gonna let you know, or after you make the appeal that, yo, listen, man, I'm not trying to be in protective custody. I'm trying to go in the yard. They're gonna come to you more than likely with a piece of paper and telling you that, well, you're gonna have to sign this, so forth and
Yeah.
so on, until an incident like this happens. Now with this incident happening, it'll be hard for him not to go to any other prison after he is, you know, healed or whatever the case may be, or let out of the hospital. That 8 times out of 10, the rest of his, the duration of his bid probably would be in some kind of administrative segregated kind of situation due to this
Yeah,
happening
because they're
to
gonna
him.
say he's a target. He's automatically a target.
Not
So I
only
got
is it,
another question, right? You don't think he paid for security, man?
Yeah. Facts.
again, you know, and you got to realize that,
Allegedly,
you know,
allegedly.
what allegedly, you know, even, you know, it's like Ghostbuster Buster. Somebody want their piece of the pie. So now it's all about whether they willing to go to war with the individual who got them under the protective shield. You dig? So we don't know the dynamics that's happening right now inside of that prison system. That's not
Yeah.
we're not hearing the uproar right now, because they want to keep that at bay right now. They don't want to have to go back in the public's eye and be like that. Well, uprising has started due to this, you know, the stabbing of Tory Lanez inside of a California
Yeah.
state. So all that's going to be hushed unless something real crazy happens again in there and multiple people get stabbed as an after effect of what has already transpired. If what our opinions are ringing true, of it being some kind of protective detail or so forth and so on, and that, you know, or that. So, you know, yeah, it's still early.
Damn. It's crazy,
Man,
bro.
absolutely, man.
So we don't know his status right now. We ain't got no update, like if the nigga intensive care or nothing.
Well, they said non-life threatening.
Yeah,
So
they said his
I
life
read it.
is
Give me a second.
non-life
I'm
threatening.
gonna tell you exactly
Oh,
what they
okay,
said.
okay.
They said he was hit 14 times, allegedly 14 times, 1 in the face, 7 in the back, some in the stomach, some in the chest. On one, I read 2 different things. One source says both his lungs collapsed, but he's stable now. The other source said one of his lungs collapsed, stable. But both of them did say that he is stable, and that this information is also on his IG page. That's who broke the story. His family told him on IG what happened to him this morning. That's how the story broke.
And you know what's so crazy about that is that you said he got started up a few times then.
14.
So if he got started up this many times and he getting popped, where was the people that, why did we only hear about him? That means this other dude should have got turned up then. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
After you
fact.
seeing your man, even Detail or whoever, I'm riding with this man, my man, who no matter what. I'm not with this hit y'all talking about. Once I see him hitting him up the first 3-4 times, nigga, I'm over there. We on this dude.
But see,
We trying to.
but what you might be failing to realize, Doc, is that just like, us, man, you dig? And that's why I said earlier, it may have been to a point where he felt where after being in there, because this situation happened to him in 2020. So I want to say that he's been locked up from at the very most 5 years and at the very least 3 years, depending on how quick he got incarcerated. But
now he
we
was
get
out
to a
for a
point.
long time. He was out for
For
a
a long
while.
time. Okay, so my thing is, we get, those of us that, what I'm saying, we live that shit, yeah, it's kind of different than him. But, he may have been in there in a while and felt because of that security detail, like we said, that's early in the morning. He may have felt like he wanted to make a move on his own, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of individuals, they, especially in state, it's much more lax than that federal system. I won't say that to be the case in California, because like I said, they got a different whole system. But, at 7 o'clock in the morning, he might have felt like he was running to the yard real quick to do something or whatever, and didn't have the individuals that really, hold him down with him, which was, a situation that placed them made them vulnerable. And the person there sees the opportunity. I mean, I'm saying that from a predator aspect because I know what it was when, I was on a person's line and you lurking and waiting for that opportunistic moment to come down on them like an eagle.
That's
You
a
dig?
fact.
So
Allegedly.
well,
No,
I'm
that
speaking
ain't
about me.
allegedly. That's
Yeah, I'm speaking on me. Yeah, you
that's
heard? Like, so, when you in that predatory mindset, you dig, and you know that individual is armored up, so to speak. Whether it's with him, you know what I'm saying, with the vest on, and being a combative individual as well, or him having, the protection of company with him. You're gonna make you're gonna make how you approach or how you attempt to approach that way, because you might only have one shot, and that shot could easily be him or it could easily be you. So you know what I mean? Obviously, dude allegedly was on the prowl, I would say, or the opportunistic moment of Tory getting too comfortable in that environment and not really being keen on how easy that moment of opportunity can present itself, and how easily a person can strike down on you like an anvil and caught him slipping. You know what I mean?
The
Allegedly.
amount of time seems
So
like personal too. Like to show somebody a lesson or cause you mad 1 or 2 or 3, like he said, 14 is like you ain't really want them to come back from the yard.
Right.
Allegedly.
Right.
and you
allegedly. Yeah,
Right.
that's a fact.
and let's be fair in that analogy, because you got to realize, like, one thing I know about, man, when you start hitting, yo, bro, man, you get all, that's why they say, as opposed to a gun, when a person hit a person with a knife, it's more personal,
Mm-hmm.
because it becomes personal. Because when you start hitting, my dude, and a dude start writhing and trying to scribble up out of it, your adrenaline start pumping, so you hitting more, my dude. I ain't letting you go.
7 in the
And
back, he
that's
was
just how
trying to
it
get
was,
away. 7 in the back, he was trying to get away.
without a question. Without a
He didn't
question.
want him to get away. He did not
Unless,
want him to get away.
and another aspect could have been, he could have hit him in the back first. And it could have been one of them where a dude yoked him up, hit him, bang, 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 bang. And then as he's getting ready to release him, your hand comes. Like, it's all other scenarios, homie. I done been caught up in a lot of different scenarios when it comes to that personal knife play game. So,
Nah, I've been down.
Yeah.
I've seen some stuff. I know how it goes.
one thing for certain, when you're dealing with a dude that's skilled in busting that joint like an automatic, yo, bro, you can get hit 30 times and you'll never see you and the person outside, standing on the outside looking in, later on be like, damn, I ain't know he got hit that many times, because that's how repetitiously that hand is moving at a close proximity. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, we could just,
And
I'm
to
thankful that the
interject,
boy
right?
ain't dead.
One of the things that he said earlier, one of the things Frank said earlier, he said, being keen. Like a lot of us was raised around wolves, and your keen instinct kind of took over a lot of circumstances or a lot of situations, or you were kind of prepped for warfare. But let's say it like that. He might have not been prepped for warfare.
Absolutely.
You thinking, listen, why don't guys want to eat my food? I'm setting him out, and
he's a supplier.
he was lollygagging,
Comfortable, right?
In gladiator school, when it's tension, you gonna come out by yourself. Like if you felt if something was old or something wasn't collected or whatever. It's so many scenarios. Like Frankie Boo,
Yeah, so many, man.
So much stuff. It's so many ways it could go. But me, because I don't trust nobody, my first mind saying possibly under the protection allegedly that he was under, maybe that didn't go well, and they was like, "Yo, do whatever y'all need to do."
It could
What I'm
have
saying again.
Allegedly, that's just a wild guess. I have no way of knowing.
And that's crazy. You know what's crazy is like wherever he was at, that mean he wasn't around nobody that ever felt the urge to just say, "Yo, let me stop this at some point." Or he called homie, or he was like Frank said, he probably was to the point so comfortable, he was out there early morning going to get breakfast or going to yard, making that stroll. Like, I'm gonna go right back. I'm gonna make this run real quick and be right back.
Right.
Maybe it was one of those
plays. You get that comfortable though when you were a celebrity? You get that comfortable when you could just walk around the joint like that?
Nah, you gotta realize R. Kelly is real comfortable right now, bro.
Yeah, you get
Kelly is
complacent.
very comfortable in Butner, North Carolina. I know this to be a fact, homie. A spot that I just left, not where he's exactly at. I was up the hill in the 2 where it goes down, but he's in the one where it's primarily rats and so forth and so on. But something else again that I learned in the feds, man, a very valuable lesson, man, and it's called baking the cake. And let's say this before I get to the baking the cake situation. We don't know what security level he may have been in. Another scenario is this could be a dude that may have the next 30 years and felt like, you know what, I'm gonna create my legacy. I'm gonna be the one that people are gonna speak about because I did this to Tory Lanez. You dig? You got those kind of individuals as well. That, you know what I mean, probably wasn't getting anything. May himself be a pushover, may not. But just don't have the notoriety that he likes or would like. So guess what? What better than to have some kind of booty under your boot, so to speak, of saying, yo, I was the nigga that hit Tory Lanez up. You know,
and plus when you're an animal,
nobody else's name. If that's the angle, it worked.
Think about it. When you're an animal, right? Let's just say it was a person that just got out of the box. And he like, man, you know what? I want to go back down to population on on the island. I'm gonna eat the closest thing, whoever. You know what I mean? So I could get me some, get down, go. Now I'm on a new case. Now I'm, running around where I'm comfortable at back in the land. Per se, that's one of the things that predicate cutters used to do.
It's going to be interesting to see what comes out in the later days, you know what I mean, concerning the situation. But what I was going to say a little while ago is about that baking a cake situation real quick. One of the scariest things that I came to realize while I was in prison, bro, is that, and I pride myself, like, my dog, man, like my dog senses is immaculate. However, in Hazleton Pen, you dig, when I got there, what I realized that, within the
hills have eyes.
The hills have eyes. Wrong turn, you dig? Yeah. The sun go down, you get out. Yeah, that's
right.
But what I realized, and it made me even that much more keener, that much more sharper, that much more distrustful, is this thing they call baking a cake in the federal system. And that's a situation where I've seen some of the most, strategic and war savvy and combative individuals become the object of the knife, or become the subject of the knife. And we used to just look back and be like, for the first year, I used to say to my men, to individuals that I considered, comrades, like, yo, how the fuck did everybody else see this or know this but him? He's the only one that couldn't fathom that this was happening. And for me, that was like something that was like totally like, man, that shit baffled me, bro. Like,
we was rocking in the sleep. What you referring to as baking the cake?
It's rocking the sleep. Exactly. It's the same analogy. It's the same analogy. Rocking them to sleep. But baking a cake is like this thing has been brewing. Like a cake in the oven. This joint it's been rising slowly.
You
And
had to
everything
smell the
seems
cake, man. You had to smell it.
hey yo, bro,
Get
you
the
will be
cake in the
surprised,
oven.
homie. Hey yo, listen, homie. One of the things that I inculcated within the forefront of my mind is that I didn't care when I left my room. I didn't care how many motherfucking comrades I had on my flank, as you know what I'm saying, us, you know, being a security for one another and making sure that, you know what I'm saying, we made it back to, you know, to get locked in at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, man, dudes don't know. Word. Man, I could count on my hands in the 8 years that I spent in that federal system, the number of individuals, and this was on one hand, that may have got a whiff, and if they was able to check in on their own, it was because somebody that was in that car that they rocked with for a number of years, or was cool with them from out in the street, let them know, yo, boy, you might want to make that hard left when you go to breakfast. Don't come back to the block. And they got a whiff like that, and that saved them. But the majority of the individuals got the pointy end of the blade, homie. Word up.
And another
And I never,
possibility, man, that shit probably came straight from the street, fucking with that chick, what he did to the chick. You know what I'm saying? There probably been a family member or somebody been like, yo, you in there with that nigga? Yo, he did this to my cousin. Woo the woo the woo. I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Allegedly, that is all kind of angles. It's all
Yeah,
kind of.
it
I
is,
wouldn't be
man. It
surprised
is.
at that. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Absolutely.
The only thing about that is regionally, she ain't from there. Neither one of them from there. I think she from Houston, but that's close to there. I think people from Houston got a lot of family there. So again, it's definitely a possibility. It's so many angles.
But like you said, bro, you know, that aspect of baking a cake, like we used to say back in the days, you know what I'm saying? That telephone line is a mother. You dig? So you dig what I'm saying? Or that visit, you know how many hits I've seen go down through a person coming up on the visit and letting the play be played, letting the play, you know what I mean, go through the ears of one person to get to the next person. So yeah, you know that, as you say, it's so many different angles, man, that could have been, you know, or so many avenues that could have been exhausted in creating.
So Frankie, like one thing you said is key in all of this. The time that it happened, that was on somebody's mind all night. Listen, when he lock out in the morning, let's go. That's a fact. That was not a isolated incident randomly early in the morning. That was definitely in my mind on somebody's mind all night.
Yes.
It's go.
Now,
Somebody prepping for that one. It's go.
It could have been if you got one of them individuals that's a scary individual that just said, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna eat the first thing closest to me so I can get the fuck up out of here. And that was the closest thing to him.
14.
Listen.
That number is wild.
Let me make sure you understand this. When you first start hitting, if that person flinched like they are attempting to defend what's going on,
you don't know if he got a weapon on him, turn around, and you gonna make sure you put him down.
Absolutely.
The only time I ever seen somebody get more than 5 is when it was a real personal transgression. Like for you to just be making a move, 14 is a lot.
Yeah. That's why I said, yo, wherever he was at, if he was around people, he was around motherfuckers who do not mess with him, who did not mess. Because it's like, come on, you walking on a walkway or you walking through the yard, you gonna see people. You gonna see at least 1 or 2 or 3 people walking, and this is Tory Lanez we talking about. He ain't just a regular Joe Schmo.
Like you said, dog, it's repetitive. People eat breakfast with the same people every day in jail. So he probably was definitely, like you said, just in his own world, on his way to go whatever, because you know how it is. You know,
but no, nobody, I'm saying nobody try to even stop. Like, you walking on the walkway, you walking in the yard, you gonna see these 2 or 3 people, and somebody get popped, they're like, oh shit, that's Tory Lanez. Oh, you know what I mean? Come on, this is Tory Lanez. This is like, if he ain't looking out Just say you see him, if he may not be looking out for you directly, but you may know your man who he looking out for, but he look out for your man, and once your man get hit, your man hit you with some smoke. Your man hitting you or whatever. And you like shit. You know what? I'm out, you know what I mean? So if I see, that's like for me, if I saw somebody, yeah, he not blessing me, but he looking out for big man, but I see him getting popped up or somewhere, I'm gonna go over there and be like, whoa, come on, yo. It's the people, you know what I mean? Because at some point, I broke bread with him.
Yes.
Word, that's what I was saying. That's weird. It's like nobody came. There's rescue. There's nobody else saying that they stabbed up too, that they got beat up. Somebody got put in the hospital.
That's why, you
Well,
know, let me
niggas,
take the
niggas
time.
be bitter, man. Niggas be bitter and shit. Niggas be in the yard. If they wasn't there to stop it before the first motherfucking swing, ain't no need to get into it, because if he got hit up, right, they already know they gonna pack his ass up and he gone. I can't get a check from that nigga if I save him. So he gone. Now, if I saw it, brewing, the cake is baking, you know what I mean? I'll be like, yo, what's up? Yo, that's my man. That shit ain't going down. You get it? At least I know he there. He know I saved him, and maybe I get a check coming my way. You know what I mean? You got to pay like you weigh, and that nigga, he got some weight on him. So if the nigga's already in action, nah, stay out of that shit. I don't know. You know what I mean? Because his ass gone. He out of there. He gone. You know what I'm saying?
You right in the sense that nobody helped him, but pardon me, it could have happened so fast, like Frankie Boo said, that nobody got a chance. Next thing you know, he was down. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they was there, and then he was down.
And I'm gonna tell you something, bro.
If you can hit a motherfucker that many times and nobody, I mean, somebody saw, but like you said, a motherfucker be like, a person be like, I ain't know he got hit that many times, and you were standing right there. 14 is a lot, man. That's anger right there, for real. You 7 o'clock in the morning. First of all,
or fear.
That's a whole lot of shit, man.
Yeah, that's anger or fear.
You went to sleep really mad.
Think about it. If you're in the woods, right, and you got your knife on you, what is what, and the bear's coming at you. 14, you gonna get 14 off. I promise you.
The bear coming
from fear.
You. But if a squirrel just sitting there by the tree, you just gonna hit the squirrel 14 times?
You might have to, man.
But and you know what I think too? I think honestly, I believe at least 8 of them Jones was just like little scratches or something that they gonna call a stab, but because he got stabbed, but it wasn't that. It was one of those like he could have went back in the dorm and just healed them shits up. But I think the other ones,
is that they just calling it 14 stabs, but it was 14 wounds?
Yeah, they gonna call it 14 stabs, and they gonna call it because it got stabbed. Yeah.
12 stabs sound better than 14 wounds, though. 14 stabs sound a little better.
Hey, Lodi, you got it from him, my brother. I'm about to go.
Yeah, we're about to shut this shit down, man. We've been up here too long.
I'm trying to see what these Knicks doing.
Yo, the Knicks just took the lead, baby.
Oh, the Knicks song?
Yeah. Salute to the chat, man. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Man, sorry for the discombobulation earlier. But we live and we learn,
on your president.
Yeah, that's wild. So you see how we talking about all this criminal stuff? No problem. About anything else, they just
it's all good, man.
It's all good, man.
My battery about to die too. Salute y'all.
Yo, Big Herb, Nikki Baby, salute, man. Ralphie,
Dog, take us out real quick, dog.
Uncle Ralph, salute, bro. To the chat, salute, man.
Hermes, salute.
No doubt. Salute to y'all. Y'all know what it is, man. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe to Frankie Boo Virtual. On Super Trife. Ralphie's
dog,
kids.
Dog, we not gonna do that, dog. We ain't on no virtual nothing, dog. We on vertical shit, dog. We on vertical talk, baby.
Dog always saying that virtual shit. It's vertical. Salute, Ralph. Salute everybody. Peace,
salute everybody. Make sure y'all go to www.universallowlives.com and get that merch too. For sure, man.
There
Salute,
you go.
salute, salute. Go Knicks.
Salute, salute, salute.